Hey everybody, welcome to Why I Rise. Hey JM,
Hey
look who we
guys,
got. We've got
who do
we
we
got a
have
good
today? Not
yeah. We have
tomorrow, not yesterday, but today in the
today we have
house.
we have Erin Gallardo. She's a neurologic physical therapist and the founder of the NeuroCollaborative. And she does what we're trying to do, only she does a better job because she's actually working with patients and building businesses, and she's got a pretty exciting story. So I'm hoping we can reach some people with her expertise and her passion for what she does. And so, Erin, can you tell us a little bit about the NeuroCollaborative, or you can start any way you want?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm a neuro
Coming.
PT. I've been a neuro PT for about 17 years, and I started in a hospital setting, and then I was in private practice for many years and worked for a decade working with people with Parkinson's directly. And then a couple years ago, I have a neuro PT friend who specializes in working with people with Parkinson's as well. Her name is Claire McLean. She's in Orange County, and we started NeuroCollaborative together in 2018 because we really wanted to help other neuro PTs, OTs, assistants, fitness professionals, anyone who wants to build or grow a business working with people with neuro conditions. And so especially like working with people with Parkinson's is one of our big passions. So we do educate a lot of people on how to do that, like different training and education and the latest research for using that in their clinical practice, but then also how do you create a sustainable business model? A lot of people are really motivated by the fact that there's gaps in our healthcare system. Our healthcare system has a lot of problems, and there's a lot of gaps, and there's a lot of people who fall in those cracks. And we want to make sure no one is left behind there and they get the expertise that they need so they can really defy the odds and live a life with Parkinson's, actually moving better, feeling better, having the fullest life possible. And that is actually very possible to do.
You say fall. I'm sorry, Vinny. You say fall between the cracks. I say fall in the fjord. Because it is very, one of the things you talked about is, and I just, this is just an observation, but it feels like, when I look for somebody to work out with or somebody to train, or even I go to see a doctor, I'm like, I want a doctor that has Parkinson's experience.
Yes.
Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I come back with nothing unless I'm referred by my doctors at Cedars or by my now doctors at Huntington. And they couldn't even, I mean, just to get a psychologist to want to, because you're going to want a psychologist, you're going to want a psychiatrist if you need meds, you're going to want your movement disorder specialist, which is also your neurologist. You're going to want a physical therapist who understands, Parkinson's and how to manipulate it. And manipulate's a bad word, but what are the specific differences between, say, a non-neuro collaborative versus, or a non-neuro PT versus a regular PT?
Yeah, it's so true. You really do want someone who has that knowledge, because the cringe part about it is, like, we know of people with Parkinson's who would go to maybe an orthopedic or general population type clinic, and they're laying on the table doing like quad sets or something like. So a neuro PT, and not to berate anybody who is trying their best in working with people that they're not familiar with. However, I really love when a therapist recognizes this is my expertise and here's someone else who could serve you better. Here's who you should go to. So those people would be when you're neurologically trained and you're educated and working with people with Parkinson's, you're going to focus on function and how to improve function using exercise to do that. And then there's specific components that you always want to make sure are part of it. So skill-based training, you've mentioned boxing before, that's like a skill type of exercise. So something that really uses your brain and your body and your coordination. Aerobic exercise is hugely important. Strength and resistance training as well, balance training. So a neuro-trained therapist is going to incorporate all of those things, make it very functional, make it very comprehensive. You're not going to be doing any sort of like isolated muscle movements. You're going to be using your whole brain and body to train and make those changes to your brain so that your disease can be modified.
Awesome.
It must be challenging because JM, one of JM's favorite sayings is if you meet one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's, because everybody's symptoms are different. So you have to take some time, I'm sure, to identify this individual and then apply what would help them best, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which definitely is very doable for somebody who understands like what they need, because there are some core symptoms that you would see with people. And it's like, oh, okay, when I'm seeing freezing, or when I'm seeing someone who's having trouble with their arm swing or with their posture or with their balance, like I know these are the things that I need to incorporate, because we have assessments and we follow those assessments to help us understand what would be great treatments for them.
Go ahead, Vinny.
And then sorry, don't you also work something into their daily routine?
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's really fascinating that you give them exercises to do when they're not even exercising; they're just going through their regular day.
Yeah, true.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point about it, because there's, our healthcare system isn't set up for you to get the amount of exercise that you need just with like insurance-based therapy. It just isn't built for that. And that I think is okay. I don't think we need to overutilize all the insurance in the healthcare system to get everything. Any person, whether you have Parkinson's or not, needs to be exercising and moving every day. You need to be getting a certain amount of steps, and you need to be doing resistance training, and you need to be challenging your brain. And so a big part of doing therapy will be to help teach you what are the things that you can be doing outside of these sessions. You're not going to get better with just 45 minutes once a week. Every single day, you should be working on things. And so depending on the person, like to your point about everyone is a little different, they'll give you things to work on, like maybe improving your sit to stands, so that instead of sort of falling backwards as you try to get up, you're really enforcing that forward lean and up, and really strong, and the powering up. So there's like a lot of different techniques that we will teach people for working on posture, balance, functional, stepping larger, turning, so that you don't feel like your feet are sort of crisscrossing over or freezing. That's a hugely important piece to incorporate into every day.
Yeah, that's great. Little steps,
Yeah.
Truth moment. So when I hear you say, falling backwards, when I go get my test and they do this, and this, that, thing, and they go, you don't really have Parkinson's. And I'm all, well, tell my body that, because it's thinking about something that I'm not. But what I found is that I've been diagnosed since 2012, December of 2012. So I keep kicking the camera. Sorry, guys. We're going on 13 years, and I love the compliments when people say, hey, you look great. But I noticed that it's about how my body moves. It's about, the extra effort is to get your arm up here, or just, when your meds are wearing out, which I will probably take after this comment. But I have now gone into this phase of really bad, like I'm at sea in a boat that's going like this, and I'm trying to walk from the back of the galley to the front of the galley, holding on to the counters, and I'm going this way. Now, I don't have that kind of a balance, but what happens is when I get in this house, perfect example was on Sunday, Heidi and I were out all day. We went to Griffith Park and walked about 1.5 miles up in the mountains, and then we came down and we went to the beach, and we had lunch on the beach, and it was a great day. I saw Billy Baldwin, fan sighting. I didn't ask him about his brother, but I said, hey.
How long did it take for a movie reference?
There you go. Look at that. Perfect. There you go. Good call, Ben. Good call. There's a joke that you guys don't know that we included Erin in on, that all of our personal friends, Vinny and mine, will say, how long until those two jokers try to tie in some movie from their past what was it? Backlight? No, that was a Ron Howard film about fire. Backdraft. But and one of their experiences of meeting somebody, whatever. So anyway, that aside. But what's really terrifying me, and I thought I broke my ribs. I was actually moving side to side, and I was by the table, and when I shifted, and instead of shifting one leg out and pulling another one closer, I crossed them. And once I crossed them, the balance led me into falling into what is a wall unit air conditioner, which is where I think I hit my ribs. and my hand, the blinds were closed. My hand or my head hit the glass, and I heard this. And I live in an apartment, so all of a sudden I figured everybody would be doing one of these, like, what's going on out there? You know, and but nobody seemed to care. Nobody knocked on the door to see if I was all right. So that's good to know. But that becomes dangerous in a couple of ways. Is you start to not feel like you're confident enough to go out. And the reason I brought up we were out all day is that I didn't shuffle once. But when I got inside this apartment and my wife crosses in front of me, my brain goes whoop and shuts off, and I start falling or I start shuffling. And when I talk to my neurologist about that, they're like, "Yeah, well, do you want some PT for that? Do you want?" I'm like, I want somebody who knows what I'm doing and what I'm going through to talk to me.
PT,
because
PT.
Well, that's just it. Because my thing is that I don't want somebody to go, okay, here's the standard 75 exercises we do, and
Yes.
I want them to walk with me to the store and watch me in the grocery store, or watch me in 7-Eleven, or watch me drive the car, which is not the greatest because of the moving right foot. Because the thing about Parkinson's that is so deceptive is its isolationist factors. And so when I start to fall, I go, oh, I can't go outside. It's too dangerous. And then where am I stuck in here? Then where am I sitting on the couch? What am I doing watching TV? And, you know, I'm fortunate I have a job that I can work from home, and I love my job. But at the same time, this kind of stuff is where you know, I'm out there. You'll see all the videos that I've done, and when I speak to groups, and I just try to say, you know, like, be positive and choose the way you show up, and you have good days and you have great days. And as Vinny said, you know, you've seen one person, everybody's different, so take everybody at face value. But the thing that I think PT offers, and what the personal or these groups that do boxing or whatever they may do, is the community. And that's where I'm scared the most, is because I'm in here by myself, and I'm very capable. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling you that I can't walk or anything like that, but it's frightening for me, and I'm pretty active. So I worry about somebody who might be 10, 15 years older than me, who gets it later than I did. I was 46 when I was diagnosed. But the idea that this disease isolates you, that's the thing that really pisses me off. So I don't know if there's a question in there, if I just rambled on for 20 minutes.
Well, you had a lot of good points in there. Number one, yes, the community aspect, and that's what can be so helpful. And also, but just being with people who know what you're going through, not only like the therapists who can see it and say, oh, I know exactly how to work on these symptoms, these issues that you're dealing with your mobility, but also a big part of what we're huge proponents of is our clinicians that we train through NeuroCollaborative, and helping them build their businesses and their programs is to make them so unique and different and outside of the medical box. So it is more of like a fitness program, and it is addressing these things where people are at, in the home, in a park, on the lake, doing kayaking or paddleboarding or something like that. There's like a lot of ways that you can really help people meet them with the things they want to be doing, and say, no, there's actually a way for you to keep doing this. Here's how we're going to build you back up to that, you know?
Ask Vinny about kayaking.
Yeah, our wives put us in a kayak and took off, and he and I had overwhelming anxiety, and we couldn't even put the paddles in the water. We were just sitting there
going in circles.
It had nothing to do with Parkinson's.
And meanwhile, there's like a sea lion that's kind of sitting on the edge of the dock. We were up in Morro Bay, weren't we, Vin?
Yeah.
And we're like, that guy's getting close enough where if he jumps in, I mean, here's my hand. The edge of the boat is like right there. So it's like, you know, we're kind of somewhat submerged. We're going in circles. We got our life jacket. We look like Martin Short and Christopher Guest when they did synchronized swimming back in the 70s on Saturday Night Live. And the life preserver is like up to here. He can barely move his head. I mean, I just saw it, and our wives were laughing, and my wife was my daughter Claire, who's 25, was a Girl Scout, went all the way to the end, like the Golden Eagle or whatever they call it, some like award. It's like the penultimate achievement. And all those girls, like all 7 of them, all got the award together. They stayed together for I don't know how many years, 10 years. So they're just like they're in some canoe race, and we're just going.
And the dad,
And all we were doing was going across the bay, Erin. It wasn't like we were going out in the white caps. It was across the bay. We got to the other island, and he's like, "Is there any way we can walk back?"
So yeah, we both need a little PT. So you actually train people to begin their own neurologic PT businesses.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're international. You've got them.
Yeah.
That is. See, this is Jam. These are the things. These are the people that Parkinson's needs.
And we need a platform for them, and that's what this has to be. This has to be a platform for people who, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in this next moment or so, nutrition, physical therapy. Because the first question I'm going to ask you is, okay, I tried this with the last, with many of doctors. Who in my community that I could almost possibly walk to here in Pasadena do you recommend? And you don't have to do it on air. I'm just saying that, is that something you go, oh, Pasadena? Yeah, I only do Hermosa to San Diego, that kind of thing.
No, one of the things that gives me like one of the greatest joys in life is learning who is who, where they are, what they do, and how can I connect people to them. And I really feel like Parkinson Wellness Fund is a great thing for that too. I've known Russell for a really long time and have just been a huge fan of what they do and have recommended their grant to so many people. And I've seen so many of my own patients and clients benefit from it. And in our online community of professionals, we have a database, we have a directory, we know where people are, who they are, where they are, what they are doing, how they're helping people. Because our hope is to have as many of these local community programs as possible who specialize in working with people with Parkinson's or other neurologic conditions. So someone always have somewhere to go that will challenge them to the right level, that will give them that expertise in their exercise program, as well as like all over wellness too, nutrition, psychology, OT, PT, movement disorder specialists, all the things that make the biggest difference. Because when we see that, when we know the people who are doing that regularly, people with Parkinson's, they are breaking the mold. They are not getting worse as what you see or hear from some people who have such a bad outlook about what it could be like. We're seeing them do the opposite. We're seeing them live very well. Even yourself for 12 years with your condition, that you are continuing to be really independent and doing things that you love doing. And that's just very motivational to hear.
Yeah. Well, I have to do that because otherwise my wife will they're out the door. My wife said something that is totally powerful 12 years ago, because when you get it, that self-doubt walks in. It's like, is my wife going to walk out the door? Is my husband going to leave? Who's going to take care of me? What am I going to do? Am I just going to get worse? And I would say, okay. I don't know. Yes, no, maybe. Get back to you later. I don't know. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, my dad had a stroke, and we immediately tried to get him. His body is fine. His mind is challenged. He can't really put that third sentence of the discussion together. He has to stop it too. And then he starts going, and the guy with the car and the thing and the ball and you're like, what? Okay. But the physical therapist came to the house and wanted to check out the environment. And I think that like occupational safety or will come and they'll go, you need to put a railing over there. You need to put a ramp over here. You need to do all this stuff. And then they kind of present you with a ticket of a punch list and offer as much advice as they can. But ultimately, it's like somebody like Russell will come in, thank God. And I go, hey, Russell, it's $1,000 for this ramp, which will lift up, because I don't have anybody in the house that can lift the ramp up if we need to, blah, 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 blah. I'm just making up a scenario. And then all you got to do is say, oh, and by the way, I have Parkinson's. And that's what the Parkinson's Wellness Fund.org does. But do you like to send people to get to see the whole 360 of what somebody's doing? Because I really feel like my dad will go to them, work out like crazy, have fun doing it, smiling. And then he gets home and he sits right on the couch until next week. And I'm like, well, is that your 4.5 minute workout that you did? And he could be easily as rough on me. He said to me when I was diagnosed with it and I was kind of in that shock phase, and again, I don't know if he knew, because I don't know how to comfort people when they're in that kind of like, well, it's an anvil, it's hitting me on the head. But he said, you're going to kick its ass, son. And I thought, okay, I have no idea what that means. But the idea is that that might be the best way he can help, but it all helps. And so what when I speak, I try to say to people, have as many tools in your belt as you possibly can. And I understand there's a cost with everything. Believe me, nobody knows that more than me. Financially lost his business a few years ago, and and surviving to thrive. You know what I mean? We're just trying to get to that point. But the idea of not trying something because you don't know is, what is his old saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
All right.
God, I lost you there for a minute. I don't have my glasses on, so
I was gonna say,
did it freeze? I can't tell.
Well, you make a good point, because we can't change everybody's motivation and where they are in sort of their state of making change, behavior change. So when a stroke happens, or when someone's diagnosed with Parkinson's or something else, it can take a lot of different resources, people, things to help them go beyond. Like, it can be a big step to just go to the therapy, and then the rest of your day could be sitting on the couch. But ultimately, the things that are really going to make the difference is if you're incorporating little bits at a time every day, a few more things, being connected with more people, because the community piece is so important for helping somebody recover and feel their best mentally, spiritually, physically. So that can be a challenge. I think we all know people who do only a little bit, and they just can't get themselves to continue, whether they have Parkinson's or not. There's people who don't do the things they quote should do.
So talking about 360 like you are, you're an accomplished cook, correct? And you
At home, I guess.
I thought you taught a cooking class.
I do. So I wouldn't say that I have like credentials in any kind of cooking, but there is research and knowledge that there are dietary things that impact Parkinson's symptoms, Parkinson's progression.
Yeah, you said something like diet to slow the symptoms. And can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe some examples.
Yeah. So we follow work from Dr. Lori Mishley. She's a naturopath in Washington, another great person that you should talk to. And she's done a ton of studies. She works with people with Parkinson's, and she studies the things that they do in their life that make symptoms better, make symptoms worse, like who's doing better at one stage compared to across all these years. What are they doing? How much are they exercising? How much are they involved in different groups? What are they eating? And gets down really to the nitty-gritty of some of those specific things. So the research is showing that people who eat more of a plant-based diet are doing better when with regard to the Parkinson's symptoms. Some of the most things that show the worst types of outcomes are dairy, especially. And then I know, and then also
my wife's got me eating coconut ice cream, for goodness sake. I mean, what is it? I'm just supposed to take a spoonful of dirt.
So yeah, coconut ice cream. There you go. Yeah. So dairy is one of the ones that people should be reducing as much as possible, eating as much fiber as possible, because we know constipation, GI issues, autonomic stuff can be part of people's experience with Parkinson's. So things that help your body move better, move through better. So lots of fruits.
I got your pun on that one. I understand that. Good job. Welcome to the club.
Fruits, veggies, grains, and then reducing it. So I teach kind of like a plant-based cooking class for people with Parkinson's through Claire, my business partner's company, Rogue Physical Therapy and Wellness. She has an online program for people with Parkinson's and an in-person gym in Fountain Valley, California. And so we just help people learn easy recipes. What can they make that doesn't take a lot of effort and a lot of time? Favorite things that they used to enjoy that we can just incorporate. Here's some substitutes. Here's how you make your own cheese instead of buying dairy cheese. Or so
hang on. I just had an epiphany. I said, epiphany, Vinny, pack your bags. We are going to Fountain Valley. We're going to do a cooking show on one of these episodes with Erin from the house. That'd be great.
Do that,
because I can be shaking all over the thing, and you can be drinking wine and laughing at me. But no, but I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, and so I want you to go back to what you're saying, because I'm a firm believer, and I was going to ask you things. Talk about, if you can, like leaky gut, or the fact that they think now Parkinson's has a lot to start in the gut.
Oh yeah.
And also, I would love to be able to do, if Russell's listening, we can do a live show or a cooking show with you just once to see how it goes.
That would be so fun.
Okay, cool.
That would be so fun. Yeah, they are learning more and more that Parkinson's could be starting in the gut way before we even know that a person has it or has any symptoms. And there is that connection, the alpha-synuclein misfolded protein can be travel. It's either going from the brain to the gut or the gut to the brain. There's still a lot of debate and question about how it's starting and where, but we know the brain gut connection is super strong in everyone. And that is very early on affected in people with Parkinson's. So constipation can be one of the first symptoms that people might be experiencing and not knowing that it's because Parkinson's is kind of starting. So working on gut health and eating more plant-based foods and reducing processed foods and meat and dairy, canned, like another thing that is shown to be not as helpful as like eating things that are more canned or sort of prepared, not prepared as in like fresh prepared, but just like canned food or whatever, versus something that is more fresh or but you know, there's always compromises. We have to have a little bit of give and take. So what are those better alternatives? It's never like this is good and this is bad. It's like compared to what? This is better than that. So how can we just eat more of the things that are better? And it's been really cool in this class. We have a good core group of people who have really made huge changes to their diet, adding more grains, greens. Our saying is always like, when making food, can I add beans to that? Can I add greens to that? Or can I add mushrooms to that? And almost always there is a food meal that you make that you can add those things and they will dramatically improve how you feel and your gut health. And they're seeing their neurologist and feeling better and saying, you know what, I actually think it's the diet. And neurologists are like, really? That's what's helping you? And so that's pretty cool.
That is great.
Now, when you say mushrooms,
yeah,
what kind of mushrooms are we talking about?
Well, there's a lot of great,
not psychedelic mushrooms.
I haven't done work with psychedelic mushrooms yet. It's not off the table, I suppose, but no, we've been working with just grocery store mushroom, cremini, portobello, white button mushrooms, but also lion's mane mushrooms. Did a recipe with that. So lion's mane has tons of health benefits for people with Parkinson's or Alzheimer or anything, because it helps with immunity. It helps with gut health. It can help prevent cognitive decline and mood enhancers. There's like some really great things with lion's mane as well.
Awesome. How do you find those?
I found them in Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They probably have them in a lot of different natural grocery stores too. So yeah, I've been doing the cooking.
Vinny, they have them at Erewhon, but it's $27.50 a stock.
Yeah, they're kind of expensive.
Excuse me.
There goes our Erewhon sponsorship right out the window.
Yeah, right there you go. Yeah.
Screw that one up. Boom, just like that.
So
go ahead.
On with the NeuroCollaborative, are there any if somebody's interested or somebody's interested in contacting you, is that something you do? I know you're not really working directly with patients as much, but do you have like a website or your partner's Rogue and all that stuff? Because we might be able to hopefully put it on a Chiron under us here.
Yeah.
So can you bring those up?
Yeah, I would love to help anyone out who wants to find a professional or someone to work with them wherever they live. So we don't have like a directory on our website, but if anyone emailed us at info@neurocollaborative.com, I'd be more than happy to look through our directory and see who can I point out. Because like I said, that gives me a lot of joy to find people who, where are you? Okay, let me find someone who's near you, who's a neuro professional who can help you. Our website is neurocollaborative.com. But also I just really feel the work that Claire McLean is doing at Rogue is so impactful and motivating and important. So you can also learn more about what they're doing, get involved in their exercise programs that are comprehensive, because there's exercise, there's nutrition, there's education from experts, and community. The community is very solid there.
Nice.
And
there you go. Because and maybe we'll just have Claire come.
You have to have Claire come.
and so it'd be the four of us talking about things, and there was something you said that I wanted to mention.
About putting people together.
No, it was a disclaimer. For those of you that are watching the show and didn't understand what Vinny meant by Chiron, that's a term from the 70s where they would put Vinny DiGiulio right below your name, but it was on a Chiron machine. That's all done digitally. You guys don't have to worry about that anything. Vinny's from the 70s like me, so just disclaimer, just button it up, put a little parenthetical around it, whatever. But those are credits, or lower thirds as we call them now.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to get that done.
Okay, bud.
Well, their info, just real quick, since I didn't mention their website, roguept.com is where you can find out that, and then rogueinmotion.com is the online membership too. So I would love for anyone to check that out if you're interested. But we work so collaboratively with Rogue because she builds the gym and community for people with Parkinson's, and then NeuroCollaborative, we help professionals who want to create something like that, or something actually that suits them better and their community better. We don't want anyone to create like some sort of mimic of whatever we're doing. We need them. They live in their community. They know who they're serving, what works best for them. Because we want more and more of these types of programs to be as accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I mean, people like you and your partner and Russell with PWF, it's essential that everybody help each other out, because everybody's going through the same thing in different ways, and that's why it's wonderful. People like you are singling people out and are also training to expand that community of care. It's God bless you. I love what you do. I really do.
Let me just button it up before we let Erin go. And Erin, I will say that the most amazing thing that for me that came out of this interview was that I think immediately we connected, and I think immediately I felt safe. And for a person with Parkinson's, safety is a big issue. I mean, we tend to be older. So I'm 58, going to be 59 in December. So I don't consider myself old, but we're on definitely kind of hit the crest, and we're heading down the ramp, if you will. But the idea of feeling safe, or feeling that somebody can trust in you as a person gets older, that is important in life. It has nothing to do with Parkinson's, but Parkinson's adds that little spice to it that makes it a little bit like, I don't know if I really want to go out of the house, or I don't know if I really want to do this. And so the idea that you and your partner are out there, what's her name? Is it Claire? Yeah, Claire. You and Claire are out there doing it. And I tell anybody listening to this, and I hope that our viewership grows as well. But these are the kinds of things that we don't find on a daily basis in discussion. Right. So, and so the more of these, and everybody can do it, and everybody should do it, is the idea that we're all advocating for ourselves. And so what Vinny and I try to do is advocate for you with people like Erin and Russell, who advocates for everybody with his foundation. But Erin, if you keep that safety going, if you keep making people feel like, God, no matter what happens, she's going to be holding my hand, or she's got my back, or she's going to show up and save the day, that's liquid gold. It's liquid gold.
Oh, I really
thank you very much.
I appreciate
Thank you for coming by.
Wait, can we talk really quick about your marathon? Because I'm a big runner, and I heard you say on an episode that you're going to run a marathon next year. Is that still happening?
Yeah. Well, this is what it was. My brother, I'll tell the story. I actually haven't really told it publicly, but my brother said.
You did on the show, though.
No, I know. But did I tell the whole story? Did I tell the story about my brother challenging me?
A little bit. I remember that aspect of it.
For those of you that are catching up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Running is only second behind like lighting myself on fire publicly. I played football and I played baseball, so you ran when you had to. The fact that you're running to go 70 miles somewhere, that's being chased. And I don't know how people choose that, but I have these incredible friends that are triathletes or just runners in general. And my brother said, you want to get this out there because you want to help people, and you want to have as many people as you can see what you want to do. And as your career is changing, JM, change with it. And this could be your second act. And he goes, so I challenge you, run a full marathon in a year. You got 365 days. And I started looking into it, and Russell's like, we're there, man. And JT's like, we'll have cameras with you the whole time. I'm like, you better have a freaking ambulance and a gurney with me. But the idea, like I have a guy, Pete Stone, who is, I've always wanted to involve Pete in this with Vinny and I. So, I think Pete's going to kind of be my accountability coach. And so he'll call me up and he'll say, how many miles did you do? And I go, I did so and so and so. And he goes, do I need to look at your phone? No. He was at one point, he's like, why don't you link me to Jago? And I'm all, man, it's $60 a month. That's going to be $600 you're going to lay out between now and the time we run. And he's like, all right. So we built the thing on trust, and I'm not a liar. I'm even to like protect myself with God, there are days that like Sunday's a perfect example. And I will, anybody that wants to call me or ask me about it, please do, because I will sit in this couch right here and go, my body will say, yeah, your shoulder hurts, man. Maybe you should just kind of stay in and not do anything and tell your wife that. And then she's like, no. I'm like, well, why are we always doing what you want to do? And she's like, no, that's not the answer either. And I'm like, all right, well, all right, I'll do one or the other, the beach or Griffith Park and a hike. And she goes, let's do both. And I'll prepare lunch. And I'm like, oh, the Giants are playing the doubleheader. She's all, no. And it was hysterical because at a certain point, I got to the point when I was on the trail, I'm walking and she runs. So she's trying to do a 5K or something like that in the next couple of months. So she goes, all right, Jim, and it's hot as hell. And she goes running down this dirt path, like a fire road. Are you familiar with Griffith Park at all?
Yeah, I love running there.
Okay, so we're going along this trail, and all of a sudden she goes out of sight. And Vinny will appreciate this. She goes out of sight, and I'm like, oh, she's going to come back. And I'm just kind of thinking about, she gave me the keys to the car. She goes, just go, nobody's making you do anything. Just go sit in the car. And she knows my ego won't allow that to go through. And I'm like, I see what you're doing here. It's manipulation 101. You probably taught your daughters the same thing too now, didn't you? So I'm having this wrestling match in my head. And I realize as I keep looking back and I keep looking forward, there's nobody around me, period. And all of a sudden this voice, comes out. This is the anxiety part. It has nothing to do with Parkinson's, but loves our friend Parkinson's, goes, hey, there's bears out here. and I was like, oh shit, there's like, I gotta look up, I gotta look left. I'm on like a trail, which is like meanwhile, there's a couple like 9-iron to the green. They're like 50 feet away from me, and I'm just like, I could be I guess a couple right there. Hi, you shake your ball. Okay, here you go. And it was just like the anxiety. So I finally called my wife. Now this is asinine. I call my wife on my watch phone because the other thing is not, I don't know what I'm doing. So she's like, what's up? And I'm like, I'm having a little anxiety and I don't know what. She goes, where are you? I said, if I look to my right, there's 2 people playing golf. She goes, go down to the shack and just wait for me. So I walked off.
Oh my
trail,
goodness.
Sat down with my wife. She showed up and we went back and finished it. And then went to the beach and it was like amazing. It was totally amazing. But I am this guy. I will kick and scream the whole way. And then when I do it, I'm all, wow, that was amazing. I would love to do that again. Yeah. And so I don't know what it is, like the negative reinforcement, or which isn't really a proper term, but the idea that it's like I have to feel like I put up a good fight and then acquiesce and move on, because she's like, look, do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle? Do you want to walk both your daughters down the aisle? Do you want to see your grandkids? Do you want to be able to hold your grandkids? And that's like, can be harsh, because you're sort of like, well, there's a certain part about, and this is going to tie you back in. She goes, I'll go, there's a certain part about it I can't really control. She goes, yeah, you can. You can absolutely control how you show up. You can control what you feel. You can show what you put in your mouth. And that's the kicker, is that she's like, you're going to go do this walk, and then you're going to come back with a bag of Skittles, or, like a Starburst, and I'm ripping the wrapper open like a savage, and I realized that I'm that guy that has been so addicted to sugar and the toxicity of it, which, you never knew. And where it is, it's in everything. I never knew milk had sugar in it. I thought that was the one healthy thing I ate, 2% milk. And it's unfortunately, and it's sad, because I guess when somebody gets sick from something that they're eating and it causes, diabetes or whatever, by the way, isn't diabetes type 3 linked to Parkinson's as well?
Type 3. I've never heard of that one.
Isn't there a new study that says, is it type 3 or diabetes type 3?
Really?
I'm not sure about that.
All right, we'll have to shelve that for the next show.
Yeah.
But the idea that instead of going to somebody, hey, stop eating the Skittles, or hey, and I love Skittles, I'm not bashing them at all. I'm just saying, don't eat a Hershey's chocolate bar, you know. And my wife is really good at it. She never was into it. I would, honest to God, when we'd be walking, like all our family would come out to visit us in California. Hers were from Colorado, mine are from Northern California. And they go, let's go down to not the boardwalk, 3rd Street Promenade. And I always said that because I knew that I could duck in, because there was vendors in the middle of the street at that time. It's all changed now. I could duck in to the saltwater taffy place, buy a bag of taffy, stick it in my jacket pocket, and sneak out with a bag of. By the time I got to the car, gone. And so the idea of, like, you know, there's obviously like issues with the way I grew up with 1 brother and 2 sisters, is like, better get your hand on that Pepsi, because there's only 6 of them, and there's only, you know, let's do the math, somebody's out. And so, you know, I think that built this like insatiable, that if I don't do this, I won't be safe. And so I think Parkinson's is here to kind of shake my hand and say, well, we're going to show you where you've been wrong. And I do believe that there was a reason I was given this affliction, if you will. I try to, like, I've got to the point in my life where everybody goes, oh, Parkinson's is such an insidious disease. And I'm like, it doesn't need an adjective. Just say you got Parkinson's. Because that's coming from the anger side. Now I got to focus on that anger and listen to that. And then, you know, it's like Parkinson's does what it does. It's like, you know, we're the only animal that I think in nature thinks about what it's doing kind of on a daily, you know, it's like, well, what if I do this? Why make this much? I mean, you know, a mouse is looking for a piece of cheese or whatever he's looking for. And then somebody's looking for the mouse, and somebody's looking for the cat, somebody's looking for the coyote, and somebody's looking for, you know, get up to the bear or the lion, and they pretty much are the kings of the jungle. But I just think that there has to be more information, and there is. It's just not as well publicized as the commercial for, you know, this particular medication, or this, you know, or subcutaneous, or deep brain stimulation. All amazing things, and I talk to everybody about it, and I'm an advocate for doing what is best for you, and canvas as many people as you can. But your program sounds so great. I would be willing to go down to Orange County and just see the facility. I mean, it just sounds amazing.
Yeah, you have to go see Claire's gym. And I can definitely relate to the sugar too. And I will tell you, when you decide on which marathon you're running, if you haven't already, I would love to be there as well and run it with you and fundraise for Parkinson Wellness Fund, because I've been wanting to do that. So I can also be one of those people who makes you follow through on your goal. And the perk about training and running a marathon is you need to fuel yourself as you run, and you have to have things that are very easy to digest and take in and give you instant energy. And so there's a lot of sweets involved. Exactly.
You know what? You're talking my talk, kid. I'm loving you right off the bat. All right, well, I think we should let her go. And you guys, don't worry, if you didn't get enough of her, we'll bring her back as we start to set out our interviews, and we can talk more maybe the next time on diet with Erin. And Vinny, any closing thoughts? I mean, this has been great fun.
I really appreciate you coming on. As I said, I love what you're doing. Keep up the good work, and we got to do that cooking show together.
Oh, that'd be so fun. Thank you both so much. This was a blast.
Bye for now.